Today we're making slab bowls with inspirational messages. We're going to begin by picking up the clay and rotating and flattening it in our hands until it becomes the thickness of a hamburger patty. Once your clay is about as fat as your thumb, you can set it on the table and begin to smooth out any cracks with your finger. Then you can gently start to flatten and flip it just a little bit at a time and continue smoothing, but be careful not to push too hard. Once your clay is flattened to be a little bit thicker than your pinky finger, then you can transfer it to the blue slab roller and do 2 final rolls with the slab roller and the rolling pin. Now your slab is ready to be picked up and transferred to your working mat. Now you can use water 1 fingerprint at a time to blend out any further cracks. Be sure as you're blending to rub until the water is completely soaked into the clay. You will know that it is when it is no longer shiny. Be sure when blending the edges of your slab to push in from the side of the clay and not down onto your working mat, because this could make the edges of your bowl very sharp. It might also cause your slab to stick to your working mat, and we only have today to complete this, so there's no time to start over. Before continuing, be sure to gently carve your name into the back of the clay and gently tap out any rough spots with your fingerprint. You will have some choices about the shape of your bowl. If you would like to create a bowl that is deeper, you will need to create cuts so that the bowl can sit down lower in the styrofoam form. You will be able to choose between 2, 3, or 4 cuts depending on the shape and type of bowl you are trying to create. Once these cuts are made, your slab will need to be gently laid into the styrofoam bowl, and the cuts should be overlapped and scratched to attach or scored and slipped so they can bond back together. Scratching to attach can be done by using the prongs of a fork to rough up the surface area of both spots that need to be attached together. This will create a rough texture and allow all those little rough spots to grab onto each other when water is used to push them back together and create a bond. When pushing, you must push gently and be sure not to trap any air, because air pockets in the kiln will try to escape and could break your bowl. Then you can use your fingertip and a little bit of water to gently smooth out any of the little rough spots that are left behind. You can use a clay tool or your fingertip to do any final blending, but be very careful not to push the clay into the foam form. This will create a suction and your clay could potentially stick inside of that styrofoam form. As you're doing this, you may want to lift your form out of the styrofoam bowl every once in a while to make sure that it's not sticking. If you have chosen to do a deeper bowl with cuts, the letters must be tapped in as a final step after the bowl is completely done. Again, tapping the letters also needs to be very gentle because we do not want to be pushing the clay into the styrofoam bowl. If you're choosing to do a shallow bowl, you will start exactly the same way by rolling a slab and smoothing out any cracks. The biggest difference will be that you will press your letters in while your slab is flat on your working mat. Remember to press gently so the letters go just into the surface of the clay and you do not push the clay into the mat. Once you have finished pushing your message into your clay, finish smoothing out any remaining cracks and gently lift your slab up and place it very carefully into your styrofoam bowl. Your slab should rest just across the top of the bowl. Make sure not to force it to the bottom because you could create a crack or a hole. At this point, finishing details can be added with the clay tools at your table. Make sure you don't push too hard. We don't want the clay tools to poke holes or cut through your clay. Good luck and have fun creating your clay bowls today.